So if you've been keeping up with my track videos, you know that I'm relatively new to track days. I started in the summer of 2021 and I typically register for intermediate class. Although my pace probably has surpassed intermediate at this point, I haven't been comfortable signing up for advanced class since they require you to be able to pass in corners. Problem for me is that I'm essentially not used to deviating from the racing line at all. The last 2 years I've essentially done nothing but hot lapping, which leaves a huge gap in my skill as a driver in what I would consider as entry-level racecraft. The main skill I need to pick up is driving offline at speed and even just leaving space for others. And considering it's the off season here in the Northeast, that means again it's time to put in some more work on the sim, specifically in iRacing. So I am brand new to online sim racing. I've literally never raced online once, so we're starting with a fresh iRacing account with no experience. If you're unfamiliar with how iRacing works, you start in rookies, which is an absolute cluster by the way, and you progress through their licenses to unlock more racing series to take part in. Unfortunately, I don't have too much footage from my first few races since I wasn't planning on filming any of this honestly, but they basically went something like this. Scenario 1, I qualify well, I start first, I keep the lead and finish without any drama, so relatively boring, but you know, winning's winning I guess. Scenario 2, I qualify well, but something goes horribly wrong, whether that's me losing control on cold tires or some noob absolutely setting it from downtown. And that leads us to this race, my first race in D-Class. Eventually I got my safety rating up to D-Class and immediately the quality of races noticeably increased. My name's Eric, also known as Dad Hats on the internet. Let's get into it. So I did manage to qualify second with a 17.3 I believe, and the guy in front of me did get a 17.1, so good on him. My best around here I think is like a 16.6, but wasn't able to pull that off in qualifying under pressure. Obviously you only get 2 laps, a little bit more difficult. So into turn 1, trying to be really careful, give everyone plenty of room. I am on cold tires, so trying to keep that in mind. I've been through plenty of races already that if you're not too careful you will just miss your braking point and go too far. And then here I had a little bit of the opposite problem. I basically brake checked and parked it on the apex because I was still getting used to the grip levels. So at this point, nothing too crazy going on, just trying to keep her steady. Second place isn't too bad, especially, you know, first lap out. Just trying to get consistent, warm up the tires, and get a feel for how everyone's driving. On the other hand, we have a lot of other people that are not having so much of a great time behind us, as we'll see. Not quite sure what happened to the yellow car. It looked like maybe a little bit of netcode or something. It seemed like he got spun on his own, honestly. Meanwhile, purple is doing his best lawnmower impression, and forces red to take evasive actions, manages to clip the dirt and collect blue, which is extremely unlucky. So back up front, trying to chase down the number 8 car. He really goes wide and catches me off guard a little bit. You can actually hear me lift, and he ended up pulling on me even though he missed the apex by a pretty big margin. Now, as we approach turn 1, having some confidence in the tires now, feeling like they have warmed up, so they feel a lot better, a lot more predictable. So starting to push and kind of figure out the limitations of this guy's driving. I'm really just looking for any sort of weird lines he's taking, and into that corner he was going really wide. So just trying to take mental note of where opportunities are that I'm quicker than he is. So as we come down the hill, I'm not going to brake quite as well as I would like to, miss the inside curbing, and because of that I wash out wide, and then the black car starts to pull a little bit of a gap on me. But lucky for me, one of his worst corners is the last corner before the straight, which of course is going to be huge for carrying speed onto the straight. So lucky for me, I'm able to pull alongside him, and then hopefully we can go for a move here in the turn 1. So we're both being very courteous, giving each other tons and tons of room. I'm sort of in the middle of the track, he's all the way on the outside, so I'm going to kind of carry a compromise line and go a little bit slower, have to brake earlier, and he almost rear ends me because of that. But luckily able to pull off the move, and we're ahead in first place. So not sure what I'm doing here, absolutely whiffed the apex and am just barely able to keep it on track. The nerves definitely must have gotten to me. Get a little love tap from the rear, and P3 ends up sending it on the inside. And a little bit of contact, but he's able to make it stick. So honestly, good on him. Alright, so let's take another look at this from a different angle. So you can see, I go and carry way too much speed, miss the apex. I'm just lucky to keep it on track, and not sure why P3 decided to run into me, but look at that. Side by side, a little bit of contact, nothing too crazy, and he's through. So of course, going to be trying to keep the pressure on. I definitely think I'm the faster driver here at this point. Don't want to get too frustrated, but trying to keep on the pressure, and first thing I do is get a little too carried away and brake way too late, and then compromise my exit. So no way we're going to be catching him this lap. Let's skip ahead. So here we are next lap, pretty much maintain the same gap. We're going to go into turn 1, really hard on the brakes, stay to the outside. He kind of had a bit of a wiggle, stayed on the inside, so I'm able to close that gap pretty substantially. So coming into this corner, I'm thinking about overtaking again. He hits the brakes, which I felt like was pretty early, but definitely caught me off guard a little bit. Luckily didn't rear end him, but just goes to show how close you can get in these cars without touching. At least from the point of view, it looks super close. So as we come down the hill, I know I gotta make sure I nail this braking zone so I can clip the inside corner all the way onto the inside curb and get a good run. Looks like he got a good run too, but luckily seems like he's struggling with this corner instead. Get a little bit of a run on him on the outside, but not quite enough. Just trying to keep the pressure on at this point and force him into a mistake. Faked like I was going to go into the inside there, and I think I compromised his line. He must have been driving in his mirrors a little bit. Definitely looked like he saw me coming and tried to keep to the outside, but lucky for me, that gives me a nice run under the straight. So just trying to pull the same exact move we did earlier on the black car. Keep it on the inside. He has a wider line, so he actually carries a lot more speed, doesn't give it to me easy. A little bit of contact, even though the replay doesn't quite show it, and I'm through. And that was probably the toughest overtake of the race. I think that's the first time I've ever had anyone even try to contest an overtake from me. Usually if I go for it, I either mess it up really bad or they essentially give it to me for free. And at this point, I'm absolutely sweating. It's so intense. I know it doesn't look it just from the replay, but from the seat of the pants, it feels absolutely phenomenal to pull off these moves. It looks so intense, especially since I'm in VR. Feels so real, honestly, at some points. I have a new appreciation for sure for wheel-to-wheel racing. So as we come hurtling down the straights, try to throw out a couple fakes. It's way too late to make a move, but hopefully he doesn't know that. Just trying to create some noise in his mirrors and make him think about me a little bit, distract him. Into this corner, he doesn't make any drastic mistakes like I feel like he had in the past. No opportunity to pass, but still going to keep that in mind in the future. So as we go down the hill, the black car He's a little too aggressive on the brakes, but somehow still manages to miss the inside curb. And I get a little bit carried away, think I'm going to go down the inside and back out at the last second. Should have played it a little more patient, but hopefully we will find another opportunity. Lucky for me, he kind of messes up his line here. I'm not really sure what kind of line he's going for, but that allows me to close the distance, mostly under braking. If I played it more patiently in the last couple corners, there's a very good chance I could have caught him on the straight and had a good opportunity to pass. But for now, we're just going to try and do what we can and recover. And we're right on his tail through this slow section. We have just enough momentum to maybe be able to sneak it down the outside. He shuts the door there, covers the outside. We go right down, send it on the brakes, clip the inside of the curb, and that's a clean overtake. And let's watch that from another angle, and you can see the guy in third. If he was a little bit quicker and recognized the situation, there's a good chance he actually could have followed me through. And let's use the super cool looking TV broadcast style view. You can see we're getting as close as we possibly can to the leader, make a move for the outside, closes it off, and we just absolutely send it on the brakes. I gotta say, the way the nose dives under braking looks super realistic to me. I love that. So after that overtake, I'm absolutely ecstatic. The adrenaline is absolutely pumping right now, but there's only 2 laps left. I gotta make sure I make no mistakes. I really want this victory. This was the only one that honestly meant anything to me. All my previous races that I won were honestly like I qualified first and then kind of finished first because it was basically turned into a hot lapping session. It's kind of a snooze fest. Now, but this I loved. Now, you should just be able to make this out in the top right corner, but the guy in third in red just barely spins out. Super unfortunate. Let's take a look from his perspective. So it looks like he kicks the rear out. Doesn't quite notice what's going on, gets on the gas, and yeah, that's a spin. Really unlucky. And the guy in fourth, oh, he's going to take that. But back to the battle of first. The black car is not going to back down that easily. He's really looked like he was going down the inside. I tried to give him that space, didn't want to cut him off and cause an accident this late in the race. That would just be heartbreaking. Managed to keep it around the outside. He doesn't seem to have pace, and he just nearly takes me out there, braking super late. So let's take another look at that. So it looks like he goes to the inside. I leave him the room. Isn't able to get the job done there. Now let's just see from his perspective just how close this was into creating a little bit of an accident. Oh my god, that was close. My god. Honestly, we got really lucky there. There's no way he could have gotten much closer without making contact. Honestly, that near miss probably has him a little bit flustered because directly after that started making a few mistakes. That just allows me to push my lead a little bit further and get comfortable for the rest of the race. And by get comfortable, I mean try to control my breathing and don't hyperventilate and try not to crash. I was in a Discord call with one of my buddies at the time, and I was basically just screeching like random noises, you know, every so often, every time I got a break, because I was so nervous, dude. At this point, I did build up a couple second lead, I want to say. Looking backwards, you can kind of see how far away he is. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm comfortable, but definitely not trying to take any unnecessary risks as I go into turn 1 here. I'm sure I'm getting on throttle nice and late, and trying to do my best to keep it on course. At this point in the race, I don't even think I know it's the last lap, so I basically have been completely ignoring all the white flag, checkered flag, all that, because it has been a completely chaotic race for me, and honestly, one of the longest 15 minutes of my life. Alright, last corner, don't mess it up. Onto the straight, don't touch the wall. Alright. And that's my first real race in iRacing. Super fun experience. I never thought I would be kind of a wheel-to-wheel guy, but this definitely has piqued my interest. I'm probably going to be playing a lot more iRacing. So if you don't see me posting on YouTube very often, mind your business. I'm playing pretend race car driver on the internet. Thanks for watching.